can love some people with your whole heart and still have to walk away. And you can do everything right and still not fix it. I've been through all the ups and downs of family estrangement as a mom, as a daughter, and as a daughter-in-law. I know what it's like to be caught in the middle of dysfunctional family dynamics that you didn't create, drama you didn't ask for, to be accused of things that you didn't do, and quite honestly, probably came out of left field. It's a crazy hard and a painful situation. But today I'm going to share the top 5 things that I believe I did right along the way. I didn't always get everything right. Nobody ever does. But I do know what it means to do the work. Not to fix the relationship, but to change myself. To change my own attitudes and perspectives. To rebuild trust with myself especially. To reclaim my peace. To stop fighting battles that I can never win. And to start healing wounds that I didn't know for a lot of my life were even there. Now I guide others through the process of doing the same thing. So let's talk about those top 5 things that I did right. Number 1 is that I tried to work it out. I gave it everything I had. I stayed longer than I probably should have, and I tried harder than it ever made sense to do. But I valued the people in these relationships enough to try. I valued the relationships. I valued the connections. And even when they fought against me in ways that completely baffled me, I still kept trying. And I kept trying until I knew it was over and that nothing was ever going to change no matter what I did. I also stayed until I knew I could look back with no regrets and to let go in peace. It turns out I was fighting against something that was so much bigger than myself, so much bigger than the relationships, and so much bigger than the problems that appeared on the surface. That's why things weren't fixable. There were wounds that I didn't cause. There were stories that I wasn't a part of. There were relational patterns that, quite frankly, have existed longer than I have, and they weren't mine to fix. So I stopped fighting, and when I did, I found peace. Not because the pain went away. That was definitely not the story. But the contention did, at least on my end, and I also knew that I had nothing left to prove. The second thing I got right was to surrender to what is. There's a moment you just know. You just know it's over. You're fighting a losing battle, and there's nothing more you can do. Much as I didn't want to believe it when I hit it, I knew it was true, and I chose not to fight against it. They are who they are. I am who I am, and we were locked in gridlock. Neither of us were going to change who we were. Neither of us were going to change our opinions. And we certainly weren't going to bend over backwards to appease each other. When it all went down, I knew that leaving was going to hurt, but I also knew that staying was going to hurt more. I never intended for the break to be permanent, but in some situations, it has become that. The third thing that I got right, and I will shout this from the rooftops, and I will go to my grave saying it, I never cut anyone off, and I never went no contact. They have a different story to tell. That's great. It's their story. It suits them. Whatever. Personally, I don't believe in going no contact. I know why people do it. I'm just not a fan of it. It's too concrete, it's too final, and it's too harsh, and it leaves no room for any kind of healing or change or possible reconnection. But that's not all. The words, I'm done, leave me alone, and don't contact me ever again are legally binding, especially if they've been said in writing, including in a text message. If those things are violated, they become harassment, and that other person can file charges against you. That's not cool. That's not what anybody wants, and all it does is just add more fuel to the fire. In my opinion, those words are meant for internet trolls and former coworkers who make your life a living hell. Yes, I have used them, especially on those groups of people, but they're people who don't matter, never did matter, and never will matter in my life. Low contact is great. Extremely minimal contact is super if that's what is needed. Just please, whatever side of this you're on, don't ever close the door and lock it tight, especially in anger. One never knows when there might be an opportunity for repentance, for reconnection, or for reconciliation down the road. And I promise, those things are not planned You may not have a lot of warning for them. And if you're not there at the crossroads and they can't get through the door, it's not going to happen. The other reason I didn't go no contact is because I refused to be who they said I was. They have their version of who I am and why I do what I do and why things are the way that they are. It doesn't match mine, but I do live mine. So until they tell me differently, they're probably still going to get a happy birthday and a Merry Christmas, and they might get it about the same level as I might give to a random Facebook friend. Sometimes those little reach outs and greetings do become conversations, and sometimes they don't. I'm okay with it either way. What I did instead of going no contact is that I maintained strong boundaries that protected my peace, my family, and my safety, both physical and emotional. I didn't waver or back down from what I had said. I didn't cave to manipulation or demands. And when I knew things were never going to change, I chose to let them be right, even if they weren't. I just stopped fighting. I stopped chasing. I stopped trying to convince them of anything. And I just let them be right. And honestly, that is what created the distance. It was the boundaries I set to protect myself and my family and allowing them to be right about whatever they were doing. The longer those scenarios went on, the divide naturally became wider and wider and wider until we were eventually so far apart that there was no coming back for it on either side, at least not without a lot of work and a lot of rebuilding of trust. The fourth thing I did right is that I did my own research and I used reputable sources when I did it. I didn't just go out and vent in Facebook groups or binge in those trauma bonding forums where everybody's crying about their stuff. I didn't get caught up in all the internet crazy theories or groupthink. Some of that stuff might feel good in the moment, but it actually does more harm than good. I sought real answers and support from reputable sources, and I did so even when I didn't like what I learned. I went deep, I got real, I listened, I learned, and I looked to people who knew what they were talking about and could also explain it in a way that made sense. And I kept going even when it hurt, when I didn't want to see it, or when it made me question everything. But I did allow it to make sense. And the more it made sense, the stronger the boundaries and the resolve became. The stronger those became, the more I learned. And the more I learned, the more I couldn't unsee what I had seen. And the more I started to share my story. And now that's why I do what I do. The fifth thing I got right is that I made my healing a number one priority. I didn't wait for a diagnosis. I didn't wait till it was convenient. I didn't wait for someone else to tell me what to do. I was stuck in endless loops, replaying things over and over and over again. I was stuck in anger and grief and toxic stress, and it was killing me. But I knew I couldn't get out of it on my own. So I figured out what I needed, and then I looked for those specific helpers. And no, they were not found in a therapy office, nor did I think they would be, because, quite frankly, I'd already been burned by the mental health system enough. But when I did find it, I dropped all the excuses of why not. I found the money, I found the time, I took it seriously, and I did the work. And when you're carrying pain that is this heavy and this big, it seeps into every part of your life and it takes over everything. Here's what I have known to be true for many years as well. When mom's not okay, the entire family feels it. But the opposite is also true. When mom is the one that does the work, when mom is the one that starts healing, the whole family feels it and the whole family benefits from it. If you're over there nodding right along with me and saying, this feels like my story too, I want to invite you to download my free guide, Reclaiming Your Peace After Estrangement. It's packed with insights and tools that will help you take the next right step right now in your own healing journey. What I know for sure is that estrangement isn't caused by any one big moment. It's often the result of unspoken pain, inherited patterns, and emotional wounds that haven't been dealt with for a very long time, often for generations. I also know that trying to fix other people won't fix you, and nor will it fix the relationship. Waiting for them to change or to come back will only keep you stuck in heartbreak and limbo. Healing from estrangement starts when you stop trying to change other people and when you stop trying to make them get it or acknowledge your side of the story. And instead, you step back and choose to start creating peace for yourself. I'd love to help you do that. There are some contact links down below in the description. The road hasn't always been easy, and you'll find out there's a lot of things that I didn't do right. In fact, the next video, right over here, I talk about the wisdom I gained through some lessons I learned the very, very hard way as I've navigated through this journey of estrangement. It's raw, it's real, and it might just be what you need to hear next. So go ahead and click on that, and we'll keep walking this road together.